everyone, I'm Becky.
And I'm Sarah.
And we're doing Bickering Book Reviews. Yep, we are doing Bickering Book Reviews. And today we are talking about The Survival List by Courtney Sheinmel. Maybe. And this book is about Sloane, who is...
But we got it off of Edelweiss.
I got it off of Edelweiss. That's where I got it.
This is the first time I remembered.
Yes. But this book is about Sloane, and she's a senior in high school. She's going into her senior year of high school.
Yeah, I think she's like a junior, a rising senior.
A rising senior. And her older sister was like her favorite person in the world, and all of a sudden, for no reason, her older sister Tally killed herself. And Sloane finds this note in her pocket that is labeled SL, and it
was TSL.
TSL. It's been a while since I read this. And it's basically a list of all these things that Sloane is trying to figure out what it is. And she really can't figure it out because there's things like Lucy and Ethel. And she's like, what does that mean? I should watch I Love Lucy? What episode of I Love Lucy should I watch? And she kind of slowly starts to piece stuff together and realizes she lives in Minneapolis, that some of this stuff takes place in California. And so she goes to California. She lies to her dad and gets to go to California, and she reconnects with an aunt who helps her lead her on this kind of journey and to kind of see where these things are. At the same time, she meets Adam, whose phone number was on the back of the list, and she texted him a couple times, and he's like, I didn't know your sister, but they managed to connect, and like she kind of finds out how their lives kind of are pieced together. I don't want to give away much because like it kind of fits together.
You can't really give away much of anything that happens in California.
Right. So I liked the idea of this book, and I liked the beginning of the book, but like around the time she meets Adam and like they start to connect, they lost me.
So for me, what friend gives you a credit card and lets you just like use it to go to California?
Oh yeah.
Like willy-nilly. What friend at 17 years old gives you a credit card and is just like, have fun?
Well, and the friend had enough money. Like, she'd inherited all this money that she could do that.
What? So I had a problem with that, like, from the get-go.
I didn't remember that.
I'm like, what is going on? And, it'll be interesting to see kind of what the community's reaction to it, but I kind of felt like the portrayal of the friend who has cochlear implants, I kind of had a feeling, like, some of the portrayals just, like, kind of didn't jibe with me. But it'll be interesting to see kind of how the community of readers reacts to it.
And I think it's possible that didn't bother me because the new Abby Glines book, which I will tell you about when we stop filming, portrays it really, 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 I think, almost offensively wrong.
Oh.
And so this, to me, seemed... Because she is supposed to have had them from the time she was very, very small. But I don't know. That's true. That's also, I haven't experienced that, so I don't know how they would view that. I feel like sometimes she was almost softening suicide.
See, and death in books is always a trigger for me, especially death of like a immediate family member. And I wasn't buying into the grief in this book. I just wasn't. And I also didn't particularly appreciate there was a passage where they're talking about how, like, if somebody in your family has experienced suicide, you know, basically you've got it the hardest. And, like, I don't like getting into that whole realm of let's compare our grief.
Right.
Like, that is just, it's not helpful. It's not. And to kind of perpetuate that, one, the way that it came across, I don't necessarily feel like that's something that you would typically see in real life. But also I don't think it's something that you need to kind of inflame.
Right.
Because me comparing my grief to your grief, like if I lost a parent and you lost a sister, or however they died, like it's grief. Like you lost somebody. I don't know. And it shouldn't be turned into a pissing contest. And you're right. I mean, the Adam thing, like, because you don't know how he fits into the story, like, I didn't know if I was pulling for them to find, you know, a romantic entanglement, or if I wasn't pulling, if I just wanted them to be friends. But I also wasn't a fan of her best friend from back home, just because, like, they're both kind of crappy to each other. Like, even
Yeah.
though the friend sends her off into the wild blue yonder with her credit card, like, some of the things that she was saying just weren't very sensitive. And, like, and maybe that part of it is realistic, but, like, it made it difficult for me to see her as a best friend.
See, and Tally and Sloane weren't that well developed, and their relationship wasn't that well developed either. So, like, I didn't.
And that was the other thing.
I
Like,
didn't
you
love
keep
that.
saying that you guys were best friends, but it almost felt like you didn't, like, you were strangers.
Show not tell. Show
Right,
not tell.
right.
And I was told a lot. But, I mean, it's, like, perfectly fine, and I'm sure, like, 13-year-old Becky would have eaten this up.
Yeah, I think this definitely runs younger, and plus, and good thing it's safe, because
Yeah.
if it wasn't safe, then I don't know who I'd give this to, but
Right.
a young teen, I think, could accept this. I think an older teen wouldn't.
We should rate it.
All right.
So our rating system starts at the top with 5 unicorns. We go down to 2 unicorns. If you don't like it, it's a horse.
I'm not like a 2 unicorn.
I'm going to get a 3, but barely. And that was before we talked about it, but I think I'm going to stick with it just because I like the premise and I do think it has teen appeal. So that is where we are on the survival list.
See you around.
Bye.